There was a lot of speculation when Marvel Studios announced that Thanos was going to be the big bad for Avengers 3 and 4, and the fact that one of his big traits in the comics is his love for Mistress Death, the actual embodiment of death in a person in Marvel Comics. Now, of course, this character has relations to other Marvel characters such as Deadpool, so we're going to talk about how the creator slash co-creator of Thanos believes that the character could be on her way to the MCU. So Mistress Death was a big thing a couple of years ago because true comic book fans of Thanos that absolutely love him and said he was never going to live up to the comic book version wanted to see the comic book version of the character, the one who does what he does because he loves death, and she's there kind of like just manipulating him to whatever, and he's just like, yeah, I'll do whatever you want because I'm in love with you, right? Also, there's the fact that Deadpool has also had countless run-ins with that character, so asking the co-creator of Thanos, Jim Starlin, about that character, about Mistress Death, he said that originally that was something that they were looking at, characters like Eternity, for example, and a character like Mistress Death, but ultimately they decided not to use her right then and there because they felt it might have been a little too much for the audience right at that time, considering there was so much, else that was happening with that universe. And when you start thinking about it that way, it makes sense. We know that they were actually looking at a character like the Living Tribunal, and they actually shot scenes with Doctor Strange talking to that character, but then they said, yeah, this is a little too much right now, just take this out. And again, this makes sense. Now, a character like Deadpool, for example, who has a connection to her, who obviously can interact with that character now, and who can exist and will exist in the MCU, can obviously carry that on. A character like Thanos can't, considering he's gone, right? He's dead. So again, I think there's going to be an interesting way to play around with that character. Now, whether she's actually the character of death or not, that remains to be seen. But if you guys remember all the way back when they cast Hela, there was some speculation, rumors, and even sort of hints that that character could return or could be the version of Death for the MCU. And that honestly could make sense if you bring her back in a new iteration, because the way they built her up kind of would lend itself towards that. Although, again, like Thanos, you're going to have to change major parts of the story, which I don't know if people would care about that or not, considering who knows how many even care about the fact that they changed Thanos and it ended up going for the better, in my opinion. But ultimately, I think this character will appear down the road, but it's going to take a little bit because you got to figure out the right story.